Knock knock. Hello, you guys. Welcome to my second video about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm super happy to see that my first video on the topic got so much engagement and there are so many cool comments that actually I decided why not continue with that. I had so many ideas from you about where to go next in our exploration of this series. I just want to remind everybody that while I very much value discussion, we have to remember that we're talking here about a fictional show and fictional characters. This is not true crime. We're all fans of the show. We just want to have a nice discussion and have fun with it. I'm going to read some of my favorite comments that I got on the previous videos where we talk about the reasons why I think Spike loved Buffy more than Angel did. The one that I liked the most was loving Buffy caused Angel to lose his soul. Loving Buffy caused Spike to get one. Wow, that was so good. With or without a soul, Spike accepted Buffy for who she was. Another one. Spike didn't expect her to change, and he loved her unconditionally. Spike is forever fighting to be with Buffy, to fight with her, against her, beside her. Oof. Angel having a soul didn't actually make him truly good, whereas Spike earned his soul, and even before doing so, he had shown he has a good in him through the choices he made over the course of the entire series. And that's what it brings us here. Because I wanted to go start with the basics, with character analysis of each of the main people in this show. And I actually wanted to start with Buffy because she is the number one central character there. But I realized that in order to do a good job on Buffy, I have to go back and rewatch some of the earlier episodes. But since I already done a video on Spike and Angel, I have all the background I need to do a character analysis of Spike. So that's what we're going to be discussing right now. And before you forget, like this video so I get the motivation to do a third one. I got my notes here. I've written a pretty lengthy overview and I kind of got to remember a little bit what it was like to do a course in foreign literature in high school. Thankfully, I can use those skills now. So we're going to be talking about Spike and how he got from being the big bad to the big champion of good, and Spike's character analysis. He is presented first in a season 2 as the antagonist to the superhero Buffy and as being a big bad that's going to be bigger than just one episode monsters that we usually get, and she easily kills at the end of the episode. And throughout this series, his role shifts from being the main antagonist to a little bit of a comic relief to a love interest where he actually ends up at the end and where he sparks the most conflict, not only in the characters in the show, but also in the audiences worldwide. And as a successfully written antagonist, he is being kept in the show until the very end because people either love to hate him or love to see him in the show. To understand how he acts and how his character is, we need to look a little bit of what motivates him to act. What are the things that drive him as a character? And when we first meet Spike, he's being introduced as the ultimate bad boy. He has this rock and roll style. He looks edgy. He looks interesting, but also already killed 2 Slayers. So he's a real threat.
Home sweet home.
And though he does have a thrill for a good fight, this is not all that motivates him. When we know more about Spike in his original story, we can tell that his motivations are a bit more complex than just being a vampire and being bad. But through the choices that he makes in the show, we can tell that also he's being very strongly driven by emotions, by passion, and the strong feeling for belonging to the group. So let's further deep dive into his original story. And to understand him as a character, we had to look at his inner core, William, where we first see later in the show as the flashback, but he's introduced to us as William the Bloody, and we can immediately see that he's this sensitive, romantic soul who really loves and cares for his very sick mother, and who's almost desperately in love with this lady called Cicely, to whom he dedicates all of his poems that he writes.
Your poetry, it's not written about me, are they?
Every syllable.
Oh, God.
Also, a significance in the name that was chosen for this character, William, resembling the one of William Shakespeare, the big writer of all these dramatic love stories, which kind of hints to us that this is the person who is emotional, this is the person that is artistic, this is the person that is driven by passion and by sensitivity.
I prefer placing my energies into creating things of beauty.
The way I see it, the main thing that drives Spike in his choices and actions in the show is love, even in his own vampire sense. He's often mesmerized by strong female energy, and if we look what Spike was passionate about, the answer always leads us to a female character, starting from his mother, to which he was so dedicated, was so connected to, that even when he became a vampire, he came up with this idea to also turn her, first of all, to relieve her from the pain that she was suffering as being very sick, but also to keep her alive with him forever. So that's his first strong female connection that kind of leads us on this whole journey path throughout the entire Buffy show. But also to Cicely, whom he dedicated every word of his poems to Drusilla, who finally embraces him and gives him this ultimate feeling of a relationship where he drowns and gets fully consumed.
I'm a princess.
That's what you are.
And finally leading to Buffy, for whom he finally leaves behind this self of being the big bad, and he fully embraces his place in her squad as her dedicated soldier, her, as he called himself in a song, a willing slave. Finally, he fights with her by her side for her cause, for which he ultimately dies. We can also conclude that in all of these female relationships that he pursues, there is an element of pain and rejection and sort of a fatality, which I think underneath he knows that they are all doomed. But from the sense of his mother dying, what he had to care for her, with the Cecily's rejection of him, he forms this outlook on all of these relationships, that there is a passion has to be mixed with pain, and this is what is true love. Therefore, he ends up seeking out the pain that would resemble this human feeling and emotion of being alive, including the reasons of why he decides to being fixated on slayers. Yes, it's a mission to kill, but he calls it a dance.
She was cunning, resourceful. Oh, and did I mention? Oh, I could have danced all night with that one.
You think we're dancing?
That's all we've ever done.
He keeps constantly seeking out this female dominance.
Just like I pictured it. It's good for you?
So this is one part that drives him the most. But also when we first see William, we immediately see him being ridiculed by his society, which he tries to be a part of.
Careful. The inks are still wet. Please, it's not finished.
Don't be shy. My heart expands. 'Tis grown a bulge in it, inspired by your beauty, effulgent. Effulgent.
And he's being rejected by his muse in a very cruel way.
And please, if they're no good, they're only words, but the feeling behind them. I love you, Cecily.
Please stop.
All I ask is that you try to see me.
I do see you. That's the problem. You're nothing to me, William. You're beneath me.
He was nicknamed William the Bloody, and we get to think that it was for some cool reason that he was such a dangerous, monstrous vampire. But actually, we get to find out that William the Bloody was given to him because his poetry was so bloody awful.
That's actually one of his better compositions.
Have you heard? They call him William the Bloody because of his bloody awful poetry.
We do not get to see exactly why he's being rejected by everybody. We're not giving a reason for any wrongdoings on his part, so we can only assume that he's being a victim of just simple bullying for his sensitivity as the man. He does not get fulfilled in his human life as belonging to any kind of relationship. That's why when Drusilla seduces him and offers him to be turned, he fully embraces their way of life to the point where he wants to outdo them in cruelty and fully joins them in their mission.
May I tell?
No need to be humble.
My little Spike just killed himself, Slayer.
Congratulations. I guess that makes you one of us.
To me, it resembles the way that a teenager would dive into and find their own being and self in the dark goth music or belonging with the gang of bad kids who would embrace you as you are, and you would jump in it in exchange for being accepted. This newfound power and absence of guilt allows him to retaliate against those who were cruel to him and who said that they would rather be tortured with railroad spikes than listen to his poetry.
I'd rather have a railroad spike through my head than listen to that awful stuff.
And that's exactly what he does to them afterwards, and why he gets his new nickname, Spike. He enjoys fighting as this is his way of getting back to the people that wronged him in real life and reject his weak, sensitive self and embrace this new spirit where he's now Spike, William the Bloody, the monster, the strong one, the cruel one, and he bears no guilt for it. So what kind of actions do these motivations lead him to? They're not always aligned with logic. So he goes for his passion, he goes for his emotion, whatever he feels like. And we can see him often being rather selfless. For example, even though he appears as this big bad together with Drusilla, he acts as her caretaker because she was weakened after whatever happened to them in Prague.
Drusilla. You shouldn't be walking around. You're weak.
Spike? I'm cold.
I got you.
But he shows the compassion when he sees that he cannot really beat Buffy. He takes action to side with her so that he can save her, as also take her far away from Angel, who he sees as rival. Another example of him acting on his passion is that when Drusilla leaves him, he comes back to kidnap Willow to try to make a potion so that she would come back to him. So this is kind of his desperate attempt to return the love that rejects him once again. All the actions that we see him take with relation to Buffy are also often related to the fact that he's in love with her. So let's see his relationships with other characters. I would say that Spike is pretty much the character that is defined by his relationships. As I mentioned before, it's one of his main drivers is belonging to the group and seeking out female dominance. He seems to be building good relationships with the majority of female characters. He's in good relationships with Buffy at some point, or at least he earns her trust. He's in good relationship with all the Summers women, with Buffy's mom, with Dawn.
Oh, do you think Timmy's really dead?
Oh, no. She can just sew him back together. He's a doll, for God's sake.
What about the wedding? I mean, there's no way they're gonna go through with that.
So they thought that it was another order form. So now I've got 2 shipments of Greek amphory on my hands.
It's funny. And really, how many do you need, Amphrey?
I like how you talk to me like I can understand things. Everyone else is being all twitchy and secretive.
I'm just trying to keep you safe, I expect.
I feel safe with you.
Take that back.
With Faith at the end of the show.
I've met you before, you know.
Yeah, you made a great impression on my chin.
Not in the graveyard. Before that, I was kind of wearing a different body. I may have said a few things.
Like you could drive me at a gallop till my knees buckle, squeeze me till I pop like warm champagne. It's not the kind of thing a man forgets.
Hey, V.
Oh, it's nice to see you two getting along so well.
But he clashes with pretty much all the male characters that we see, starting from Angel in their rivalry for Drusilla's attention. Also, Xander pretty much hates him from the get-go, and then Giles as well doesn't have a good relationship with him, and Riley too. So he's the character that know how to build a good relationship with females. I think he just really appreciates the female energy. But if we look at it from a different perspective and remove relationships out of everything that's happening with Spike in the show, what do we really have left? He is just sitting there watching TV and, playing cards and drinking beer. We do not really see any other intrinsic characteristics or initiatives in him unless they're driven by passion. So Spike is one of my favorite characters in Buffy, if not the favorite, is because he goes through one of the biggest transformations throughout the whole series, contested by maybe Willow and Buffy herself. But any episode that Spike is in, I know that's going to be at least funny and entertaining or give me some sort of emotion. Based on all the things that I already mentioned, we can see that Spike's inner character kind of stayed the same throughout the show, but he does do a big 180 turn from big bad to martyred good. And there are a number of events in the show that lead him to that. I identified 4 that I think are the most crucial to change of his character arcs, that being Drusilla leaving him, installation of the chip, falling in love with Buffy, and the episode in Seeing Red. Of course, there are more smaller events that take place that influence his actions a little bit, which we will explore here now, but they kind of align already with his initial characters that just nudge him a little bit here or there. So let's start. We meet him first as a real threat to Buffy and the Slayer killer. So the first event that kind of turns us away from this image is when we see him kind of being in doubt about, doing this whole destroying the world thing, and him going to Buffy to partner with her to stop Angel. Why does he care about that? 2 reasons. He wants to save Drusilla, and he reveals to us, the viewers, that he actually really cares about the world. Not necessarily that he cares about the good in the world, but he wants to be in this world. He likes the music, he likes the art, he appreciates the architecture.
I want to save the world.
Okay, you do remember that you're a vampire, right?
We like to talk big. Vampires do. I'm going to destroy the world. It's just tough guy talk. The truth is, I like this world. You've got dog racing, Manchester United, and you've got people. But then someone comes along with the vision, with the real passion for destruction. Goodbye Piccadilly, farewell Leicester bloody square, you know what I'm saying?
At the end of the day, he enjoys being part of this world, and he doesn't want it to become hell. This comes as a surprise to us, the viewers because we don't know his background story yet. But this leads to the main event of Drusilla seeing him as becoming soft and eventually cheating on him with the chaos demon and dumping him altogether. So the reason why I see this being a major event is this leads him to come back to Sunnydale, and then of course changes the course of the entire show, but also it gives us the picture that he kind of leaves behind this agenda that was not initially his, the agenda of the group that he chose to associate himself with, Angelus and Drusilla, of these big bad guys who just wreak havoc across the world. He rejects this agenda as not his because he wants to be part of this world. So the second undeniable change to Spike characters was introduced obviously by Initiative, where he is being caught as a part of a big experiment, has this chip in his head that kind of castrates him and makes him incapable of hurting any human being anymore. This, to me, permanently removes Spike from being this big bad. He becomes so toothless that even the Scooby Gang, including Buffy herself, kind of don't kill him out of pity.
All warm and safe where nothing can eat you.
Is that supposed to scare me?
A little tremble wouldn't hurt.
And this introduces this new era of all-time low for Spike, where he falls in the big depression, something that we also find funny as the viewers because we see him living with Zender, which is very interesting comic relief, but also he almost goes into staking himself because he cannot bear to be not here, not there, not belonging to the vampires anymore, but also he cannot really be human. So he's faced again with this place in the world where he doesn't belong to anywhere, and it really is hard on him.
Goodbye, Drew. See you in hell.
What are you doing?
Besides, I'm beyond pathetic. Stuck in this basement washing skivvies for a blighter I wouldn't have bothered to bite a few months ago.
Hey!
I mean, am I even remotely scary anymore? Tell me the truth.
We get a little bit of relief when he realizes that he can actually hurt demons. So he kind of gets back his kick from being in fights again and getting a little bit of adrenaline that way. And he now becomes the sort of on and off, on again allies of Buffy, where he treats favors for them in exchange for some cash. You know, he still seeks out the way to remove the chip from his head because he really wants to go back to his normal self. When all these attempts fail, he has no other choice but to confront what is really keeping him in Sunnydale. And this is when he realizes he is in love with Buffy.
Buffy, I love you. God, I love you so much. Oh, God, no. Please, no.
Funny enough, even before this, Drusilla kind of foreshadowed for us that this is going to happen because she says that this is the reason she actually left him. He became soft from interaction with Buffy, even though at that point, neither we nor him really understood that this is where things are leading to. But from this moment on, Buffy and love and obsession and passion for Buffy will be the main motivator for all subsequent actions in this series up till the point of his death. He's coming to terms with the fact that he really loves her, realizing that he doesn't really have any way to be close to her. He settles for just, you know, a Buffy bot and building a shrine from her pictures and clothes, which also shows him at the very pathetic low point of his life because he cannot really attract her by being strong, or he cannot really attract her by being good because he's not a human and he doesn't have a soul. He even confesses to Buffy then boyfriend Riley that I understand I do not have a chance with her.
Look at you, all afraid I'm hot for your honey.
You actually think you got a shot with her?
No, I don't. Fella's gotta try, though. Gotta do what he can.
He tries to show his devotion to Buffy by offering to kill Drusilla, which is obviously something she completely underappreciates, but from his point of view, we understand that this is his biggest love, and this, at that point, was the biggest sacrifice that he could offer. But he gets another cruel rejection from Buffy.
You know you want to dance.
Say I do want to. It wouldn't be you, Spike.
It would never be you. You're beneath me.
Which again draws the parallel with his previous relationships with Cecily, where he's going for the wrong female characters that would completely dominate him and cause him pain. However, there is a change where Buffy offers him a chance. Let's pay attention to the fact that kind of in their relationship, Buffy is the one, yeah, he seeks her out, but Buffy the one who's taking major steps. She gives him a glimpse of hope. She gives him this teeny tiny chance that he was begging for when she gives him a kiss. After Spike refuses to help the evil god Glory to discover who the actual key is, and in order to, protect Dawn and help Buffy out, he goes through this enormous ordeal where he's being tortured by her and he still doesn't really reveal the truth. Buffy offers him this one thing that he really wanted, a chance that maybe she might have some sort of romantic connection with him because she gives him a kiss. It's not just a thank you, it's a kiss. She could have expressed it any other way, but this kind of opens the door for him that he might have a teeny tiny chance.
Why did you let that Glory hurt you?
She wanted to know who the key was. Because Buffy, anything happened to Dawn, it'd destroy her. I couldn't live her being in that much pain. Let Glory kill me first. Nearly bloody did.
From this point on, he stops helping them for money or for any other exchanges of favors, but he helps her just to be with her and to kind of get her approval. And he fully embraces this role of protector of Summer's women. So he's there to protect not just Buffy, he's there to protect Dawn. He's doing this out of his own will. So this is the change of his character we see up until now, starting with the big bad that was after Buffy. Then being rejected by Drusilla drove him to being in Buffy's presence. Removing the chip drove him to mourn his former self, and he needed a new sense of belonging. And after realization that he was in love with Buffy, started turning him on the path of not just being a toothless nobody that doesn't belong here or there, but kind of stepping closer and closer to the side of good. And then Buffy opening up the thread of maybe there might be something romantic between us by giving him a kiss, pushed him into this step even further, because now he's actively going out and helping them without seeking anything back. And this even surprises other characters in the show, because Buffy brings him along when they try to run away from Sunnydale, and everybody else in her group is really not understanding what is going on here. But we can see that Buffy starts to trust him and see him as an ally.
What's he doing here? Out.
He's here because we need him.
The hell we do.
If Glory finds us, he's the only one besides me that has any chance of protecting Dawn.
Buffy, come on.
Look, this isn't a discussion. He stays. Get over it.
What is really interesting about this to me is that these attempts to help them kind of merges perfectly to his initial character, to his character as a human, as a caretaker. He might not be the bravest one when we look at who William was, but now he has the strength of a vampire and the sensitive soul and the personality of caregiver, which kind of finds place now in this Scooby gang. And he becomes this shoulder to cry on for Buffy, where none of her friends could really be an option. He is always there. Even when she really brutally rejects him, he doesn't really go away. This can be very clearly seen in the fact that even after Buffy dies, Spike remains in Sunnydale to protect Dawn and to look after her, because he promised her that he would. And there's no Buffy around to give him a pat on the shoulder. He's doing that because it's his nature.
So, what do you fancy? Bit game of rummy?
Well, Willow and Tara said they'd be back early. You don't really have to hang. It's not like anyone's coming after me. I'm not the key.
I'm not leaving you here by yourself, so forget it.
Well, I'm just saying.
No. I'm not leaving you to get hurt. Not again.
What's interesting for me is that while Spike's and Buffy relationships finally progressed into being physical, which is seemingly what he really desired and wanted, I don't see it as being very significant development in a character for him. I see it as a significant impact on her character in the series because she did it out of self-hatred and to feel at least something in the world after her death. But this physical relationship with Buffy didn't really enrich his development, because we already see that this is his normal outlook on love, that it comes together with pain, and the way she was treating him was really painful to watch, even though we realize that in this scenario he is the bad guy and she's the hero that goes into the path of self-destruction. She was the one that initiated the violence and the sex most of the time, and he was just taking whatever crumbs she would give him, which also didn't bring out his best sides. He was petty, he was needy, he was jealous and frustrated with her. But at the end of the day, he still continued this role of caregiver and protector. And the fact that when she thought that she killed the girl that Warren actually killed, he tried to divert her from going to the police and to take care of the business, regardless of the toxicity of their encounters. But when finally Buffy takes the step and rejects him again and shuts down their relationship, this is where we see another breaking point in his character. This is where it leads us to the scene in Seeing Red, where he decides that I'm going to prove you again why you would love me, going against her will.
Because you love me.
No, I don't. I have feelings for you. I do. But it's not love. I could never trust you enough for it to be love.
Trust is for old marrieds, Buffy. Great love is wild and passionate and dangerous. It burns and consumes.
Like, please stop this.
Let yourself feel it.
No.
You love me.
Oh, no, stop it.
And in my view, this is actually the final event in Spike's character development that leads him to the path of redemption, because realizing that what he did was wrong caused him to take a final step to this 180 turnaround to be good for real and go out and seek his soul, which he had to do through an active desire and go through tortures, trials, and tribulation.
I get what I came for. I passed, right?
Indeed, you have passed the first stage of the test.
Right, I get it. Wait, first stage?
This act of getting a soul alone doesn't really redeem him, but sets him on the path of all the actions that he does after. When he comes back, he is so weak and broken that there is no hint of any attempt of getting a romantic relationship with Buffy back, but there is an attempt of gaining forgiveness and redemption.
Why would you do
Shame on you. Why does a man do what he mustn't for her to be hers? To be the kind of man who would never... And she shall look on him with forgiveness, and everybody will forgive and love, and he will be loved. Can we rest now? Buffy, can we rest?
Even though he knows now, after what he did, that he's not good for her, same as when Angel did. Angel decided to leave her for her own good. Spike decides to stay and join her fight against evil, and in this way still bathe in her presence and earn his forgiveness. And just as the story of his whole life is, he's being rejected virtually by everybody on the Buffy gang, including people who were lenient to him before, like Dawn, Willow, Giles, to the point where they create a set of to try to get him killed. But this brings back both his physical strength, because he now again attempts to be the strong vampire, the strong person that Buffy actually needs right now, but also brings his mental strength. He completely leaves behind the crazy part of him and the ability for the first to control him. And he realizes here that he is loved. At this point where they try to kill him and turn on this song that mother sang for him, he realizes that he was always loved by his mother. This is the purest form of love that he knew in his life, without rejection.
See, like you, I love my mother. So much so I turned her into a vampire so we could be together forever. You see, unlike you, I had a mother who loved me back. When I sired her, I set loose a demon, and it tore into me. But it was a demon talking, not her. My mother loved me with all her heart. That was her world. Thanks, Doc. You killed me after all. I got my own free will now. I'm not under the First or anyone else's influences now.
And the funny thing about that, this is the thing that gave him strength of his body and his mind, but also this is the realization that allowed him to finally drop the chase of these strong female dominance. And at the end of the day, in his final episodes, he rejects Buffy's offer of love. This is not what he needs anymore, and this is not what his path is anymore.
I love you.
No, you don't. But thanks for saying it. Now go!
I want to see how it ends.
This is where he rejects her confession of love and leaves behind the fact that he's defined by the female relationship and embraces himself as a champion, someone who's bigger than a human but has a soul. He does that thanks to the Buffy's strong trust and belief in him that he can be a good man. And the chance that Buffy gives into him gives him the ability to also believe in that and become this champion.
I know I'm a bad poet, but I'm a good man.
This is how he completes his arc from big bad to a champion of good. Thank you very much for watching my second video on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's been such a pleasure making these for you. I'm gonna come up with more character analysis if you like this one. So I'm really looking forward to hearing your comments, likes, and of course subscribe so I can do another one of these. Thank you so much. See you in the next one. Bye.